to Manavotsav event. My name is Kamla Patni. I'm a founder of an organization called CAUSE. It's called Celebrate Our Similarities, as you probably can see behind me there on the banners. And I'm very proud to be, interviewing some really amazing students and PhD students and master's degree students today on behalf of Manav Utsav, which is the Human Festival that we're running during South Asian Heritage Month. So we're really pleased that you're joining us. And if you miss this event, you can catch up on the same link that you received originally. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Maryam. Maryam Suleimani is, I'm sorry, I've mispronounced your name. Suleimani, that's it, sorry. I'm like that. When somebody says my name wrong, I prefer it to be said properly, so apologies for that. So Maryam has been doing a PhD, and she's going to tell us all about her journey through that. And I'll pop in one or two questions, but I'm sure that with such an intensive PhD that you've done, you'll have a lot to say, and you can lead me on this. So hello, Maryam.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So Maryam is in Kuwait at the moment.
Yeah, yes? I'm in Saudi Arabia, actually.
Sorry, where are you?
I'm Saudi Arabia. I'm from Kuwait, but right now I'm in Saudi Arabia.
Ah, right. Okay, good to hear you. So without further ado, I will just go straight into the questions, I suppose. So tell me a little bit about yourself, and how long you've been studying and why you chose to do the research.
Yeah, I'm Maryam Suleimani. I started to do my research from 2017. Since I was in high school, my dream was to gain a PhD. I started PhD because I want to increase my knowledge about public relations. I want to have a better job as much as I can. In Kuwait, public relation field is still growing up, and there is more research needed, and there is more published paper needed, and people need to understand what is public relations exactly, especially in Kuwait and in worldwide. Public relations, it's very important in each organization, and people don't understand that clearly. So I want to enhance that knowledge.
Mm-hmm. And so what was your starting point in terms of the position? So, I mean, is it in relation particularly to Kuwait?
Yes. I'm a public relation practitioner in Kuwait Airport, civil aviation. I was the head of public relation department in Kuwait. I saw there is a lot of misunderstanding of the profession of public relations. There is lots need to be do. There is lots to be understood to achieve the profession of public relations. That was my plan in the first stage. Then I start to think about a title for my research, and I found it's to mix between social media and public relations, which is something very trend these days. So this was my starting point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the actual journey. Tell me a bit about the actual journey of doing the PhD. What did you find, and that kind of thing first?
Doing a PhD is not easy at all, but at the same time, it's exciting and enjoyable. The first year, I was very worried all the time. Most of the time, I was thinking, I'm not sure what I'm doing exactly. My title was very vague. I've just arrived to Leicester. It was a new city for me, new life, a new culture. Everything was new. I didn't settle down yet in the first year, but after the formal review, I understand my duty as a researcher. I understand that I have to solve my own problems with PhD with myself. No one will help you with your PhD, especially your supervisor is always there and giving you advices. But PhD is independent. You have to independent in yourself. You have to educate yourself. You have to read more. You have to explore things without reading, without asking, without sharing knowledge with people, without meeting new people, without attending conferences. You will not understand what you are doing. So I have tried to enhance myself. I tried to attend conferences, attend the training courses, meet new people, talk about my research. I tried to engage with my research more. I understand what I'm doing. So after the first year, I settled down. I feel more comfortable. The stress is less. I enjoyed what I'm doing. I put a plan for myself. What do I want to do? When do I want to finish each chapter? What is my next plan? So I have a full schedule, a full plan from the second year until I finished. I didn't stick to this plan actually, but it was very helpful. And with that plan, I could finish my PhD.
So your PhD started in 2017 and
Yeah.
it's completed in March this year. So
Yeah.
you're good 4 years, 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And it is quite interesting to hear you say about, it is a lonely journey in one sense because nobody tells you
Yeah.
what the input has to be.
Nobody will understand what you're doing, only you. Nobody will know what I'm doing, only myself.
Mm.
And my supervisor, actually, she was very helpful. She didn't force me to do anything.
Mm.
She always tell me, do what you want to do. She always, when I trying to tell her, what about doing this, doing that, or doing that, she told me, do what you want to do. She
Mm.
gave me all the freedom to choose what do I want to do. She didn't force me to do anything, and this was very. I'm really thankful for her for this because. Um, um,
It,
because
it
yeah,
empowers you, I suppose. Yes.
yeah, even if she wants me to do something, she didn't force me. She just gave me a hint. What about doing that? What about reading that article? What about she just gave me suggestions. She didn't force me at all. Was really fantastic.
Yeah, it sounds very interesting that you can be empowered from your previous experience of studying and education. You're in charge, and you
Yeah.
are going to direct how this PhD thesis is going to be heard, read, and actually implemented eventually. I suppose that's a lovely way to explain it. Thank you. I mean, I'm nowhere near the levels that you are, so it's quite interesting for me to hear that. Thank you. Thanks very much. So, did you enjoy the journey? Well, I can imagine what you're going to say there.
Yeah,
But
I yes, while they were doing the PhD, I don't know what was my feeling, but right now, yes, I really enjoyed it.
uh-huh.
I introduced myself to new people. I met people from around the world. A new life, new city. I just have the chance to live as a university student again, having university life, living the diversity in Leicester. It was really enjoyable. Yeah, I miss it right now, actually. Yeah, it was very exciting life. Yeah,
Mm,
it has but there is bad times. There is lot of worries. There is lot of stress. But
mm.
after all, I really enjoyed it.
Mm. And I mean, during the stressful times, I guess, I mean, did you find, how did you find your way to actually just, have time out and relax and, make sure that you keep your focus in context to what you want to achieve, you
Yeah.
know?
My supervisor always would tell me, if you feel very stressed, just leave your work for maybe a day or 2 days. Then your mind will be released and you will understand what you are doing. Sometimes I was very stressed, very worried. I couldn't sleep, thinking too much. Sometimes it's very, very small idea. Lets you think too much. So I try to leave my work, thinking or doing something else, doing maybe not this chapter, doing other chapter. Then I return to this what I'm doing exactly. It's helped me. I try to do meditation. I try to work out. So it's helped me to release stress. And always talk with your supervisor. Tell her what your concerns. She will give you the best advice. Talk with other PhD students. Um, Even if you see there is conferences, there is training courses, attend these courses. Talk with other PhD students because they have the same concerns. Uh, it's different title. Each one has different title, but most PhD students has the same concerns. So talking with other people about your problems, it's really helpful to see solve your own problems.
Mhm. So within your PhD then, did you, I mean, how many chapters did you have that you were working
I
through?
have 8 chapters. Yes,
Sorry, how many?
8 chapters.
8 chapters. Wow.
Yeah, it
Wow.
was 9, but after the uh, Viva, it's reduced until 10 chapters, 8 chapters.
Uh-huh. Wow. That's amazing. So when you spoke to other PhD students, did you find any similarities in the way that they were feeling, or how did you interact with them?
Yeah. When I spoke to other PhD students, especially in the first year, most of us we were lost. We were worried about our title. Most of us, our title was vague, and we still struggling and to understand what our duties. That was the problem for all of us, mostly. Um, Sometimes when I talk with other PhD students, it's mostly in the training courses. They give you an advice. Each one has um, a different experience, but when you hear this experience, you can understand or learn from their experience.
Mm, mm, that's right. So I mean, how's your family? What are they saying now? They must be very proud of you too.
Yeah, they're happy.
Yeah.
They're happy that I returned to my country, Kuwait.
Happy to have you back.
Yeah, they have. Yeah,
Yeah.
they. But I have. I'm looking for a job not in Kuwait exactly, so I have to leave again, and
Mhm.
this is life. Yeah, yeah.
So well,
Yeah, yeah.
sorry, carry on.
Yeah, my father always encouraged me, and he was maybe the reason for me to continue my PhD. Even my husband, he's always encouraged me to do more research, to looking for better profession. They really support me in this journey. Yeah,
And that's so important, isn't it? When you're right in the thick of it, that you
yeah,
have that support that enables you to stay focused and have that enthusiasm and not to worry too much about you know how everything else in life is continuing, kind of thing. Yeah. So that's really interesting to know. So did you work through the pandemic then? I guess that must have been a difficult. Give me
yeah.
some idea of how you dealt with
the,
it.
the pandemic started. I started my last year. I was very happy. I got my results. Just want to write my discussion and conclusion chapter. I registered to 3 conferences to attend. I was really happy and know what I'm going to do in this year. was to 2020. Everything is changed after March. Everything closed, the lockdown. So I couldn't do all of this. I was isolated in UK for 40 days in my apartment alone. It was really bad times. I tried to work, but I couldn't work. I stopped working this period, and it was the most important period to work because my plan, I want to submit at least 6 months in advance of the deadline, but I couldn't. I stopped working. Then my embassy in Kuwait um, returned me back to Kuwait because Kuwait was closed. They told me they will evacuate us. So I went back home, and also I isolated for 28 days there. So it was very hard time. I didn't meet my husband until October. So it was hard time. It was hard to work because we don't understand what is happening. We don't understand what's going to happen then. So it doesn't work as I planned, but I could at least finish my work. I could submit it before the deadline. I submitted December 2020. It wasn't a good year for me. Even my supervisor, we had a lot of bad times there, but I could submit, and I'm happy to do that.
That's good. Yeah. So when was your deadline for submitting your thesis?
Yeah, it was December 30, 2020.
That was it.
Yeah, I
So that's
submitted.
very interesting that you said that from the beginning you had targeted to hand it in at least 6 months ahead, which
Yes.
obviously would have been the absolute, positive that you had that 6 months during the 2020 situation, to be able to pick up. So that's quite interesting, actually. I wonder how many other PhD students may have struggled if they hadn't allowed themselves that kind of a tight, early submission date. So no, that's thank you for that. So what about work? What are you doing? Are you still at the as a head of public relations you mentioned before?
Yes, I'm still, but I didn't resume work yet because I'm still in the study leave. I think after 2 weeks I will return to my work. But I have an offer from Kuwait, a private university in Kuwait, to work as a researcher and lecturer there. I'm thinking about this offer. Also, now I'm Saudi Arabia. I'm in Saudi Arabia. I want to. I have an interview with Aramco. It's an oil company. It's public relations is very public relations department there is very developed, and I hope to find an offer there. For me, I prefer the public relation field. I like research. I want to do I want to publish papers, but for me, I like the work in the field more. I like work as a public relation practitioners. I find myself more there.
It's very practical work, and you can apply what you've learned, I suppose. Yeah, that must be a very useful way.
I learned many things. Even my personality has changed after the PhD. I learned how to be strong. I learned how to manage my time. I learned how to manage my life. I want to how to deal with the stress, how to deal with problems. But I learned a lot of things about public relations, about social media. I couldn't learn in maybe 10 years.
That's amazing. You can teach me a little bit of that social media element. I'm useless. But no, that's amazing. That's in itself, doing the PhD has provided you with so many other skills, life skills as well. And, that's not to be understated, because I think that can help you when you do, move to any job as you move up in the hierarchy sort of things, that you will be, an amazing leader at the end of the day. So I'm really proud and pleased to hear what you've just said there,
Thank you
actually.
very
Um, so, so how was the actual sort of, you know, the putting it down on paper kind of stage, you know, when you were building up your thesis, and how did that go? Give me a bit more about your journey within the writing element.
Yeah, there was advice from my supervisor from the first meeting. It's from the first formal meeting. She told me, "Don't waste time. You don't want to waste time. Start writing." From the first time I started to write my literature review, she told me, "Write your literature review." When I talked with other PhD students that I'm writing my literature review in the first year, in my first year, she told me, uh, they were surprised. How do you write your literature review? Still, you don't know what you're doing. But I wrote it. I wrote around 16,000 words. I didn't, most of it changed, but it really helped me. Um, with the PhD student, I have to write all the time, even small ideas. Just write what you have, because if you don't write, you will not finish your PhD. I
Mm,
have to write everything, and the stage of collecting the data. After collecting the data, the research will be easy. You have everything. You have your results. You just need to write. That for me it was easy. It was the easiest chapter to write the results, because um, it's all there. Just analyze it and write it. So I encourage all the PhD students to write. Just write what you have. Even if you feel it's a silly idea, write it. You might need it later.
so what about the collection of the data then? Oh, give me an example of your sources. What were they interviews? Were they
Yes.
physical? Give me a flavor of what you did.
I use semi-structured interviews with the public relation practitioners from both organizations in Kuwait, private and public.
Mhm.
The interview, I have to get permission from the practitioners and the organizations to make the interviews with them. It was challenging gaining this permission, because organization, I think they don't want to talk about themselves. They don't want to share their experience with others, and they're busy most of the time. Practitioners don't have time, 30 minutes to 1 hour to waste
Mm,
from their daily job to talk to other people.
mm, mm,
So it was very challenging, but I overcome that. If some organization refuse, I just try another organization. I even tried my friend in the public relation field. Um,
mm,
I start the interview. Even during doing the interviews, practitioners were very busy. It was little bit hard to attract their attention, because they want to resume their work. They want to finish it quickly. They thought, I told them before, it will last for 30 to
mhm,
1 hour, but they don't understand it will last all of this time. So they want to finish early, but we try to attract their attention. We try to um, make it shorter for the questions. Also, with female in Kuwait, it was little bit hard to the interview were recorded. It was hard to record their voices, because there is cultural beliefs. They don't
mm,
want people to hear their voices. It's just for me, but they didn't understand it. Sometimes they told me, no, don't record my voice, just write it down.
mhm,
And
mm.
um,
It's almost like public relations within the public relations, as it
yeah,
were. You know,
mhm,
so that's quite
yeah.
interesting as well. Well,
Mhm.
actually, yeah, I think we've come to our end of the session. Actually, I can't believe it. You
Wow,
know, I
that
would have
was
loved to have asked you a few more questions. I have some more, but we'll have to end it here. But thank you ever so much,
thank you.
Maryam. And
it was my pleasure. I really enjoyed it.
oh, I've thoroughly enjoyed listening to your story, actually, and I hope that it encourages others to think about how they want to and what opportunities there are. And I really wish you the best of luck in whatever you choose to do, because I think you'll have many options based on what you've just told me. So just to wrap it up, I'd just like to say we're going to play a video after this and celebrate our similarities. Just a little bit I meant to say before. We are about celebrating human priorities, and we're focusing on two areas: climate change and personal peace, and under which we recognize food, water, air, well-being, mental health, good sleep. You mentioned good sleep before.
Very
Uh,
important.
Absolutely, and equality. And within that, if we can all recognize our similarities as human beings, I think we can, really turn things around and, that kind of thing. So, if if you want to join us as part of COS, you're more than welcome. And anybody else who watches this afterwards, if you do want to, it's quite a straightforward celebrate our similarities at gmail.com, or you can come through Man of Utsav, and we'd love to have you as an advisor, actually, yourself, Miriam, if you are interested in that. So I think we will be playing a short video after this, and I thank you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you, Indrani, in the background. She's working on the studio, so hopefully she'll put on the video now. Thank you.